This all ties together because the evidence is mounting of the Saudi civil war spilling over and an arms deal, and that being what happened in Mandalay Bay back on October 1st, 39 days ago, or 40 days ago. And Shepard Ambellas has been breaking it down at intelhub.com. We're going to look at that and tie it into the Texas shooting, which, I mean, mind control? Give me a break. The guy's in a mental institution trying to kill his chain of command. He escapes. No APBs put out. He's allowed to get guns. They don't even file a report. He's been dishonorably discharged. I mean, either it's the worst negligence ever or this was some wind-up toy they had sitting on the sidelines ready. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Well, I've known Shepard Ambellas a good 10 years. He's a documentary filmmaker, runs intelhub.com. There's a lot of really in-depth, original, thought-provoking research into these big events where we never get even an official story. They just, nowadays, they just say, we don't know what happened. Vegas, Texas, all of it. And then, he was dishonorably discharged. We go, well, under federal law, you can't own a gun. Can't buy one. And they go, oh, he was in a mental institution. He tried to kill his command and came with a gun to murder everybody. And then when he escaped, they didn't put an APB out and didn't file his dishonorable discharge, so he couldn't buy a gun. I mean, that is either the worst negligence ever. He came to the base with guns to kill the command, got caught, got tasered, got grabbed, got put away. He'd attacked his family over and over again, never gets in trouble, and then just shows up and does this deep state wind-up toy 100%. They either knew he was nuts and left him out there, or they activated this guy. And there's declassified programs. This guy fits the bill. This guy fits the bill of a staged event. Again, why would they do that, though, Shepard? I mean, what's your view?
Well, it could be anything, Alex, at this point. Everything's up to speculation, really. But
just like default, Hassan was a psychiatrist perfectly in the mental institution system. I mean, again, they stood down.
When you take a look at all these guys, the Aurora theater shooter, the Batman shooter.
He was in a secret government program. That's admitted.
You look at
human brain interface NASA. Most classified human brain interfaces there are. His dad's a top mathematician in mind control.
Well, you look at Adam Lanza. You just look at the pictures of
this Adam Lanza, the CIA recruited him. That's in the new FBI files. Yeah. Who could make that up?
He was so smart at hacking, apparently. He had made it through the 3rd level of their firewall.
Theodore Kaczynski, declassified LA Times, was CIA, MK Ultra.
Same fingerprint every time. You just look at the police profile pictures of these individuals. You can see it in their eyes. It's almost like they're just dialed up or something. And, there's actually, if people think that's a conspiracy, there's a guy, Robert G. Malik. He has patents and he's invented technology, brain wave reading and altering technology.
That's mainstream news now.
They don't even need, people think they need to implant chips.
Look at these guys.
They need to waterboard you.
They ain't home, folks. They are in a subconscious mode.
The old super soldier thing they used to do, split your personalities. They don't need to do this anymore because they can simply use brainwave altering and reading technology. You could just be sitting there, they click it on, that's that. They can activate you. It used to be where they would have to dial up these MK Ultra dial-ups and whatnot. They'd
have to give them the code words, going through the litany. I usually catch her in the rye. This is all declassified.
Right.
This is not our opinion. I mean, look at these guys.
You can just.
I mean, bye-bye. And again, he was getting $100,000 a year or more in a secret DARPA program, the Batman shooter, the Aurora shooter. And his dad was a top interface with NASA, so was he. And again, they get you in a program here, son, put this interface on. You're gone 6 months. They say he was gone for like a year. Come back, baby. You are crazier than a you-know-what.
Well, and you look at their pictures, their eyes are all bugged out. I mean, they have all these face.
They're not mind. By the way, he said he was mind controlled. Remember? Yeah. He kind of broke the conditioning in the jail, and then the Fed showed up and said, everybody, you didn't hear that?
Well, they have the algorithms now, Facebook algorithms, gait recognition, all this stuff that they can identify supposedly everyone, but they can't go through yearbook pictures and police profile pictures and see people's eyes bugging out this big and kind of, doesn't that raise a red flag? I mean, when you see all these people, there's real similarities. It's just, it's the lights are on, but nobody's home. they're profiling people and they're going for this technology, but they're doing it to all the wrong people. They're profiling the American citizen.
Well, you have to get weaker-minded people for the programming, most of the programming to take hold. So it's already very suggestible people that they're able, with the different programs.
Well, and let's face it, they start with the whole Hollywood apparatus. It goes back to Hollywood, basically from day one. You know, you go in, you're watching cartoons when you're a kid. You know, you go to school, they show you the globe, they tell you the Earth is round, and the whole time, you know, you come home from school, the parents put the kids in front of the television. Hollywood's where it all starts. It's their whole. It's how this whole apparatus, the whole entire, basically the structure, the New World Order, it's how they control it and they get it out there, and they get their little feelers out in all these different shows, in all these different genres, the music, they pre-program entertainment, and it just goes on and on and on, and that's how. And
let's be clear, even if he wasn't in an MK Ultra program, they did release him, they did let him go, they did cover up his dishonorable discharge, his conviction, you know, by that court martial. But it's cultural, the shoot-'em-up games. People go, don't take my shoot-'em-up games away. They're like real defensive. We know you're not a killer, but they were Doom, and all of it was former military training, instinctive shooting, so that you'd pull the trigger up close and kill the enemy. And this is all admitted, and you add the Hollywood and the culture, and then these Arrested Development males who never develop coping skills or interpersonal skills. They're freaked out by women. They feel like they're shut-ins, and then they just get into this psychopathic thing that is a major program where if they hit enough people with this program, they know they're going to go out and do it because their life is going out and shooting people up. And that's their final real thing, to have power, to be real. And then they hype it in the media, hoping it cascades with more mass shooting events.
Yeah, notice, you know, they're coming out and they're saying, like, you know, this is a lone wolf thing. This is a copycat thing. They're trying to get this out there. And it goes along with their whole agenda, because then they can go around and they can say, look, we need to collect guns. But this thing backfired. Just like you said, Alex, it backfired. The guy came out, one of the neighbors came out with his AR-15.
NRA instructor.
Took the bull by the horns. The shooter came around the front.
Because he was going to go to a bigger church.
Yeah. They said he was well armed. He had plenty more ammunition. He might have went down the road. You know.
Notice Trump's getting good intel briefings. He said day one, mentally ill, and it could have been a lot worse, hundreds more, because they already had the data that he was going to go to a bunch of other churches. And so there's a civil war going on to embarrass Trump. I mean, no doubt this is staged. And the media is going to spin it and say that I said it didn't happen. That's not what I said. They let him out of that mental institution when he was planning to kill his command chain. They let him go. They knew this is all Obama. Just like Major Hassan, they protected him for 2 years when he was in daily contact with Al-Qaeda planning the massacre. Why did they let him do that?
Well, they let this stuff fall through.
They called it guns. They said it wasn't Islamic terror. That was... Go ahead.
Well, they let it all fall through the cracks, and then they use it to their advantage. It's almost like don't let the crisis go to waste type scenario. And
why would they not put out, when he escaped from a mental institution, a homicidal maniac, an APB, or even file that he had a dishonorable discharge, which they do automatically? Why did they protect him? Why was he protected?
They probably already saw his whole algorithm, his whole profile on Facebook, everything, and saw where it was headed. You know, and essentially they can recruit people now.
Look at him, it's all a little power trip. It's that same program where you're a god, and they put them on the drug, and now they've got all these gyms and clubs and stuff that are really sex cults, where they initiate people as shamans and get them on the ayahuasca and the DMT and everything, and people think they're getting inducted into a cool deal. Those are feeder arms for MK Ultra.
It's getting them in, gets them in. And
they're setting them up everywhere, man. And people tell you, I'm a god now. I'm a god. I'm a god. They're like, yes, you're a god now. Now you're under our control. Oh, well done.
What the aging process is when the cell replicates, we lose a little bit of our telomeres. Telomeres are the little cups on the end of our chromosomes.
And when it runs out, you start dying. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com.